Hi guys, welcome to today's video. In today's video, we'll look into a scenario in which the top 10 nations conquer Africa. Which may seem why, because, well, it's a great idea. Although, it won't be as bad as in the real colonization, which was very bloody, from Namibia's problems caused Leopold's reign in Belgium. Like, a lot of bad stuff happened while it was conquered. Ethiopia being invaded, but being conquered shortly, but not really colonized. Long enough to be a colony, I guess you could say. And here I got the top 10 strongest nations from World Firepower. And as you can see, the US keeps its place. Russia is still good, but not as good. Second place kept its place. China keeps its place. India keeps. The United Kingdom moved down one, and South Korea moved up. Japan moved up. Turkey moved up, Pakistan moved down, and Italy basically stayed the same, while France moved off the list. Shocking how most of them have nuclear weapons: the UK, India, China, Russia, United States, Pakistan, a vast majority. One, two. Well, we got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 nuclear powers on this. See? 4 nuclear powers, 5, 6. And as you can see, Turkey's on the list. I think Turkey wasn't on the list last year. Nor was Italy. I think Italy was 11, Turkey was 12. 10 was Brazil, I believe, or Pakistan. One or the other. So they have switched a lot, but the top strongest nations and the 10th strongest stayed the same place since last year. So let's get into the scenario where each nation meets in Washington to decide how this will go in the Washington Treaty. Is formed in the Washington Treaty, and they decide to go in order of how strong the nations are, with the U.S. having first choice. So the U.S. says Western Sahara. As you can see, they decide to take this and teach Niger a lesson. I know this seems excessive, but it's kind of like Britain at that treaty, to be honest. Taking a lot of land. France is very angry that they didn't get invited to this conference. But, you know, they should have stayed the top 10. That's their problem, not mine. But anyways. And Turkey is excited. Italy and Turkey did go to the last one, but that was just because I did the top 12. With how is this American invasion going to go? With America doing one spearhead where you would expect in southern Nigeria. And then they get their next one to land in Ghana. They get one in Ivory Coast, Liberia, Guinea, Gambia, and Senegal. And they land in many nations as they quickly move in. In their first target, Western Sahara. The second one to fall was Western Sahara. With them connecting their coastal campaigns. And as you can see, they've taken most of the coast, except a bit Nigeria is still holding. But nobody's supporting any of the African nations. No one. So, without that, they're pretty much going to fall. Nigeria takes a long time to fall. That's because they had so many people, and a lot of rebellions, I would say, would pop up. Wait, did I just colonize Liberia? Okay, it's basically the U.S. Why wouldn't the U.S. conquer it? Some nations will split different pieces of territory. But, with the U.S. taking what they wanted, they're pretty happy and content because they got what they wanted. And who doesn't like it when you get what you want? Well, I guess maybe someone, but that's besides the point. And really, as we can see, well, this is a big nation. And in other words, imagine being in this nation. It's a big area. As we can see, the Washington Treaty, first successful nation, has came out with a lot. The U.S. has come out with more than they bargained for, I guess. Just kidding. They came out with the same amount. But now it's Russia's turn. Who does Russia go after? I would say Russia will go after an area close to them, kind of like what the USA did. Unfortunately, in my opinion, I think China's stronger than Russia, but I think Russia's stronger than India. I think France would be in the top 10, you would think. But it doesn't work that way. And, I don't know what they use to market. I know there's economics. That's where I get my statistics when I do war videos, and I have all those statistics from Global Firepower, because Global Firepower is a great source of information on world militaries. Just because, well, It is. And maybe this list is wrong. Maybe this list is right. Who's to say? With Russia taking a big chunk of all Libya, they decide they want Cameroon in these lands. I know there's no straight borders yet, but that's to come later. With Russia's forces landing in Cameroon and the Sinai Peninsula. Oh my god, why would they send troops all the way to Cameroon? What are they at? As they cut out the Red Sea coast and the Atlantic Ocean. They land in northern Libya, and with forces stationed there, moved to their country, so they're using them. And Russia manages to make a successful campaign. Keep in mind, these aren't the strongest nations, with them taking advantage of turmoil in Sudan and Libya to take over huge swaths of land, with Libya, Egypt, and Sudan having fallen. And they managed to invade Cameroon. With the fall of these nations, the Russians decide it's theirs because the Russia wants cake. And who doesn't like a slice of cake? But anyways, the best cake is obviously vanilla. You can argue me if you want. But yeah, that's obviously the best way. And maybe this is just a slice of it. Sounds good. Anyways. And Russia has taken a successful peace out. And Russia's happy with what they got. Now it's China's turn, and China's all excited to be greedy. Yep, as they claim all of Africa, because they're Portugal, guys. Yep, I bet you didn't expect that one, them being Portugal. And so China gets a bit greedy, with them wanting these lands. And China's going to be furious. But they also want Ethiopia, but I know this is not going to go the way they want it. Because you can't conquer Ethiopia. How did they not know that? Like, I'm not going to let them free roam over the country. No, that's not workable. With them landing in Kenya, moving up into Somalia's coast, and making a landing in Djibouti to move into Ethiopia. With them thinking they're going to have success invading Ethiopia, but little do they know what Ethiopia is capable of. And yeah, falls. And they move into Uganda, which goes really well for them, honestly. And they move into South Sudan, which goes good. And right when they think they beat Ethiopia, well, Ethiopia revolts in all areas occupied and takes it back. China agrees reluctantly to take everything but Ethiopia. As if they try to take Ethiopia, they'll lose. If they don't try, they'll also lose. Anyways. And as we can see, the partition of Africa is pretty well almost halfway through. With this partition being pretty important because it decides the fate of Africa. And something that decides this much of a big deal is pretty big. And it will change the world forever. Good thing this isn't real, but anyways, if it was, that'd be something. It wouldn't be a good thing. Although, as you can see, China took a big chunk out of Africa. But are they going to let this one slide? They're probably later going to try to get back what they didn't get. But yeah, let's see how that one goes. With the next hungry country, India. India knows they won't get too much out of it. Like, China didn't get much out of it. But, like, the US and Russia got, like, most of it because they can actually occupy most land. That's why. With India doing what you would think. They do this. They, decide they want parts of the DRC. They decide to draw a border here. And then they decide they want this region of the DRC, because they can. And these are lands they're at war with. Really, the full continent should be blue, because it's at war with everyone. With India claiming a big piece of land, bigger than what China ended up getting, I think. With China deciding to intervene. Which is against the rules of this conference, but so, they do. And I guess they don't care about the rules. But anyways, them moving into most of what they wanted. With China moving into these lands, they basically do what they're not supposed to. The land's all surrendering over to India. Let's see what happened in this treaty, because it's a bit of a dotted line. This dotted line exists solely to show that China doesn't actually have any ownership over land despite the fact they occupy it. Suppose it go to India, but China decided to occupy it, so de facto it gets drawn as part of India. But in reality, it's more so a part. Those lands are part of China, but this map doesn't show that because it doesn't. And then after this, it was South Korea, then the United Kingdom, then Japan. Okay. With South Korea deciding they want to take a nice amount of land, but not be too greedy. They wanted Madagascar, but they couldn't really get it. All of it. But they managed to get a big chunk out of Africa. With them drawing a straight line here, a curved line here, because why not? With a weird panhandle, for the sake of there being a panhandle, because why not? They take this panhandle, because they can. And then they just draw a straight line, because the Europeans, yep, they learned something from the they learned how to draw borders. That's what they declare war on, along with them being at war with that part of Madagascar. And since it's Madagascar, why would you do that? That's just mean. But they did, anyways, because they can. That's exactly a good reason to do something. Because you can. No, it's because they think it's okay. Because they need resources. And quickly but swiftly, they move into northern Madagascar. As troops start landing there and supplies, they then use this to move into this area of Africa. As they manage to do this, geography is a bad thing over here. It's like all foresty, jungly, I think. And arid, whatever the climate is here. It's not nice, I don't think. With them moving in from India's land as they can, as India said so. And why would they invade these lands? Well, why wouldn't they? Although the scenery in this area is nice, except, yeah. And so, as we can see, South Korea is another successful nation due to this conference. Nations like Turkey, Pakistan, and Italy are pretty annoyed how they have to go after like South Korea and Japan. But the rules are the rules, and they can't fight that. And as we can see, the partition of Africa is half done, guys. And that's a half point. And now it's the United Kingdom's time. Let's get out of Italy. You're Asia. Because almost all the Asian nations have gone, except two. All the North American nations in this conference have gone. With the British doing what they would normally do. With them going to war with this area, they also decide they want that and Morocco. And everybody says, yes, you can have whatever you want. Because it's your turn to choose what you want. Basically, the U.S. couldn't have. Although they also had to all agree on it. There was disputes throughout this. With them quickly moving into the Gabon, Equatorial Guinea area they want. In this area of Africa. Why'd they get so much? I don't even think that's remotely fair, but they did. So that's how they got it, because it was there. Pakistan, Italy, and Turkey probably isn't getting the best lands. Although Turkey's probably getting the better out of them. As we all know, the flags in this nations aren't the hardest flags, though. Like, flags are good. A good flag, good land, interesting ideas. Yeah, they always work. But now let's get to the weaklings. Or so I'll call them. Even though they're the top 10 strongest nations. The weak ones. Japan, Turkey, Italy, Pakistan. And yep, let's see what Japan takes. Well, you already know partially what they're taking because you already heard of it. And they also decide to go after the Congo and the Republic of Congo. As after them, there's only 3 nations left. And they have to split this. That's not a lot of land, though. With Japan taking huge chunks of land rapidly as their offensive is a full-on success. Despite the geography being challenging, they managed to overwhelm the nation within 4 months. Also, keep in mind, all these invasions happened at the same time. So, yeah. And now we get to Turkey, who isn't allowed to take all they want. with them agreeing with Italy on a way to partition the land. With the beneficial, it's more beneficial to Turkey than Italy. Italy only gets a small piece of land, but they're the last to have a turn, so like, they're lucky Turkey even wanted to compromise with them. Turkey could have said no, although the other nations did try to force them, so kinda, yeah. They didn't really have a choice, but they did have a choice about how much to give. And basically, Turkey decides the best way to take out Algeria areas is by taking out Tunisia and taking out the northern coast, and then moving down, sweeping in. And then they managed to take this much land, because who doesn't like a turkey? Yep, that turkey was sliced pretty well. Well, that would have been at the Treaty of, what was it? Solva, I think, or something. Happened, but instead they got the Treaty. But there's a lot of ways to slice it. If you think of it as basically slicing whatever you would consider it. Call it cake, call it anything, call it what you want. But keep in mind, it's Pakistan's turn. Pakistan isn't interested in Tunisia. That's all Italy's getting, because that's all Italy needs. And also, that's all they deserve, I guess you could say. With Pakistan taking its turn and being like, yeah, I know what I'm taking. The rest of Angola and the part of whatever that is. But this being the worst borders ever possible. With Pakistan invading, and yeah, within 5 months that. And as you can see, the Anti-African Treaty Organization has got a lot of land out of this. Of course, the British did pretty well considering their strength. They got 3 colonies. Americans and Russians and Chinese, Indians, and most of them got only 1. Britain got the most colonies, because each landman. And South Korea got 2, along with Japan got 2, but like it was Madagascar. And with a quick and swift invasion by the Italians, Tunisia and that part of Algeria has fallen into their hands. And as we can see, this is what Africa looked like at the end. Thank you for watching today's video. That's all for today's video. Please like, subscribe, and comment. And tell me what you would use to describe the slicing up of Africa. That's all for today's video. Please like, subscribe, and comment. Wild Mapper out. But not until you subscribe. Bye, guys. See you next video.